Hi, I'm Brad Heath. I want to take a few moments to share some information with you on this SafeTack 3-horse bumper pull trailer. I really like this model. It's very popular. I'll point out some of the standard items and then the optional add-ons that we did for this particular one. One of the first things that I noticed is just the different color. We can do, this is hand painted as well as the roof rail frame and chassis. We'll get shots of that. And we can match that to your tow vehicle, typically at no additional cost, or if so, the charge is minimal depending on what type of paint that it is. So just keep that in mind. You can choose the style and the color of the graphic as well as the exterior color of the skin. We offer, I think, 4 or 5 different colors on that. I went ahead and added weight distribution, or for this customer, they ordered it that way. This is a sold unit and they'll need it for their tow vehicle. Let's go ahead and take a look at the dressing room as we walk around. We've got a positive door hold back, so you don't have to worry about your door flopping around in the wind on a really windy day. And we install this window as standard. In fact, every window you see on this trailer is included with the exception of the back door window. That's the only optional. These front windows will crank out, so they don't slide, and the reason that we don't use a slider here is they're not designed to have 60-mile-an-hour rain driving into them, and these will actually do that. They seal tight and they're designed to go on the front. These are standard. This client asked for a closed bar to be put in, the 110-volt electrical, which includes your breaker box, your power cord, excuse me, sorry, power cord. And then we did an outlet here and an outlet here, and again that light, which I really like. Now, something that has caught on in recent years are these wall organizer grid panels. We install the panel. There's numerous websites where you can buy accessories. They're very inexpensive. Bins, hooks, hangers, coat holders. There's just a lot of stuff, and you can attach those to any position on the grid, and it just allows you to utilize that vertical wall space without, throwing all your stuff in the floor. I mean, just here doing our video, we've got this in the floor, we've got that box, I've got this, and so and of course this optional auxiliary battery. The battery will actually operate the fans and the interior lights when not connected to the tow vehicle. So just keep that in mind on the wall organizer grids. I like these. We typically mount those on a carpeted wall, and that way we don't have to worry about, if you've got bridles or something here, they're not clanking against the wall. And increasing those stress levels for your horse while hauling just from the clankiness there. We want it as quiet as possible. This client did ask for a water tank that's a 25-gallon, and it's gravity feed, so that you simply attach a garden hose to it, turn the valve, and you can fill a water bucket or anything of that nature. The walk-through door is standard on every model that we make. So if you're camping or just want to peek in on your guy there, you can certainly utilize that horse space and open this door and see what's going on. This is actually a 90 wide trailer, so the standard width is 80. I'll show you once we get inside what the 90 is and the purpose behind that. A running board is standard front to rear on one side. I typically don't put them on the opposite side. It's just something else for a horse to paw on, and it's not needed. Now, this entire trailer is constructed of Z-frame technology. Z simply stands for zinc. It's very strong like steel, it's lightweight like aluminum, and it doesn't rust. So we really get the best of both worlds with the Z-frame. I love the technology, something that we developed many years ago. The exterior skin is an aluminum, nothing new there, but if you'll notice, there are no bolts or screws or rivets. This is completely smooth. We use a 3M chemical bonding system to bond these panels together. It's a watertight barrier, and another advantage of it is we don't have metal on metal. So if you imagine the tubing upright, and if I were to attach this sheet to it and then put a bolt through it, we've got metal on metal. Well, as you're driving down the road, horse trailers flex a lot, and they make a lot of noise if you're not careful. If you don't believe it, crawl in one and ride. So we want to insulate, and we want to keep metal off of metal just to keep it as quiet as possible. And the 3M chemical bonding system does that. It will actually allow the sheet to expand and contract, because from temperature change, metal will do that, and you don't end up with the sheet buckle or the warpage like you do with the mechanical fastener, which locks that down and it just doesn't allow it to move freely. We're walking around to the back. Just noticing some of the options that this client added. Again, you can see the 90-inch width is a little wider than normal. I think they're hauling a 17 warm blood. A lot of clients ask us, they say, hey, why do you use rubber here? And I'm worried about that. I haven't sold a replacement rubber strap in over 10 years. I like that it'll keep the ramp tight, eliminates that vibration, you won't pull it out of there. These are the same straps used on a Freightliner, an 18-wheeler. Next time you're on the interstate, it holds the hood of the vehicle down, you'll see those straps, so no need to worry about that. The standard trailer is a step up with an optional ramp. I certainly prefer the ramp load. We see less skinned legs and knees on ramps in comparison to a step up. And this one, even as wide as the trailer is, I always like to do the toe test on our ramps just to make sure you can lift those up, and it's just not heavy. So it's very easy to operate. We've got this anti-skid surface, so the guy won't slip while you're loading or unloading. And another thing that we do, we mount the ramp at a lower incline than some of the other manufacturers, or a lower pivot point rather. And the benefit of that is the lower that we can get the front of this ramp, the lower the incline, or the less the incline. So you can imagine if a horse is climbing up a really steep ramp, you know, he could increase the chance of slippage there. The lower the incline, you don't have to worry about that. So it's just another advantage that we do. I really like these latches. One-hand operation. You just roll that around. It locks the door tight so it doesn't vibrate. And then just close it. And of course it's lockable too. We've been using those for quite a few years with great success. Now, this is the SafeTack saddle compartment. Let me just go ahead and latch this door. More difficult with gloves on. A conventional rear tack, they're very dangerous for horse and handler. A lot of horses don't like to load through the small, narrow door. And then the other problem is once you load your last horse, if you have to walk a guy up in here and lead him, tie off the head, with a conventional rear tack behind you, there's nowhere for the handler to go. So you end up being trapped and, of course, run the risk of being injured by your horse. The SafeTack saddle compartment solves that issue. We've put a convenient handle on the side. Now this is exclusive to Double D trailers. It's been in production since 1999, so well over 20 years of history on this. And the advantage of it is you end up with the entire back of the trailer open and available for loading and unloading. This partition is an extra divider. A lot of trailers will have a butt strap or of some sort across the back, or a butt bar rather. And the problem that we've seen with those, of course, a horse could get cut on the strap. We've seen legs go over, and they really just don't do a great job of holding in the horse, particularly if you're trying to undo a bar with a horse's feet right at you. You run the risk of getting kicked. So we add this extra partition. You can imagine going on a trip for 4 or 5 hours, opening the back doors, and this horse is ready to come out. So by having this divider in place, you can leave your horse in until he or she calms down and you're ready to unload. This is a one-hand operation, slam latch. These are hardened rubber material, or coated rather, so we don't have to worry about vibration. The partition is spring-loaded. And if you take a look at that, so it automatically is going to fold around and stay in the open position. The guys put a little stopper here just to prevent it from clanking. Nice touch. This particular client ordered feed bags, and again, it's the 90-inch width for the larger horses. So you do end up with some fender well on either side, but it's rounded, it's horse safe. We've been building trailers like that for well over 20 years with never any injury whatsoever. I love this thick padding. It's 2 inches thick, runs the full length of the divider. Guys do a really good job on these pads. Now the roof itself, well, let me talk about this divider. This is the lower partition. So if you are hauling a stud or perhaps some tables and chairs and hay in the front stall and 2 horses in the back, this would keep items from rolling underneath your horse's feet. And it is removable, so if you want to take this off, you simply slide those pins out and just leave it at the barn if you'd like. The drop-down windows, of course, are standard. The sliding windows on the butt side are standard, and we can crank that open. There's a screen that covers it, and of course bars as well to prevent the horse from damaging the window, or even worse, trying to jump out. This client added fans with the auxiliary battery. If you're parked at a restaurant or a gas station on your trip and you turn the tow vehicle off, you can still open the windows up and utilize those fans with that battery. The roof is a one-piece fiber composite roof system. It is the safe bump, so if you have a horse that rears up, it's quite forgiving. It's not going to hurt his head. The older style safe bump that you may have seen on some of our other videos, I really liked that roof, but it had some downfalls. One, it had a lot of seams in it, so it would leak. This particular roof is seamless. It's built in a mold, and it has no seams whatsoever, so it can't leak. The other problem that we had was we didn't have enough bracing in the roof, and in case of a rollover situation, it did increase the risk of a horse being ejected. So we added these Z-frame roof bows every 16 inches. And now, of course, in a rollover situation, it greatly reduces the risk of a horse getting out of there. I do like these lay flat tie rings. Those are standard. A lot of manufacturers bolt these in. We actually weld it to the Galvalite. This is the Galvalite material. It's very strong. It doesn't rust. It's much stronger than aluminum. And you can imagine if you get a 1,500-pound unruly horse rearing up or kicking, you really need some material that they're not going to kick through. And the fact that it's insulated, so we don't have that metal on metal. It's very quiet and just keeps those cortisol levels as low as possible for your horse while traveling. The entire trailer, I mentioned insulation. It is 100% insulated front to rear, sidewalls and roof, including the front dress. We're one of the few manufacturers that does that standard. And another thing that I did on this one, the client added a camera system so you can monitor your horses while traveling. There's an interior and a backup cam just to see the traffic behind you. It's wireless, so you'll be able to just mount the monitor in your tow vehicle and plug it right into the cell phone charger. Rear header pad is standard, so if you get a guy backing out or rears up, he's not gonna smack his head on that. One thing that I didn't mention is the Safe Kick wall system. This is something that we developed many years ago. It'll actually flex and absorb the impact of a horse kicking that. You don't have to worry about a horse getting cut on a mechanical fastener or something of that nature. And the last thing that I see that we did in this particular trailer for the client is the rubber flooring. So the standard floor is a 2x8 pressure treated pine with a rubber mat on top. I'm fine with that. Wood actually transfers less heat, noise, and vibration in comparison to an aluminum floor. Plus, you don't have to worry about the oxidation. But I love the rubber because it's made from recycled tires. It's basically a 1.75 inch thick board by 8 inches wide. It's tongue and groove, so one board snaps into the board beside it. We'll get some pictures of that later on an actual piece. And you see these bolts. So the board itself is screwed directly to the chassis underneath. So if you were to crawl underneath the trailer and look up, you would see the support across and then the bottom side of this board. So this is the actual floor. Rumber is forgiving and certainly cooler and quieter for a horse than the other flooring types that are available to us. The big thing about Rumber, or another benefit that I like, is I call it the lazy man's flooring. So once you have traveled on a long trip, you come back home, you don't feel like dragging the mats out, hosing the floor, allowing it to dry, pull the mats back in. With Rumber, you simply hose it out, sweep it out, and there's no lip across the back. That's a smooth surface, so anything will easily go right out of the back of the trailer. I wanted to show you the inside of the SafeTack compartment. This client did add just one more thing, the load light and the switches to control those and as well as the fans. Interior lights. And there are the fans operating. And again, that's just running off the auxiliary battery. So if we open this compartment up, there's plenty of room for up to 4 saddles, or you could do two saddle racks and maybe a couple of blanket bars. These racks will easily lift in and out with one hand, so if you want to perhaps throw in a bale of hay or something, you can certainly do that. The hinges on this are designed to withstand much more weight than you'll ever put in it. Again, in over 20 years, we've never had a hinge failure, so I'm not too worried about it. We added a brush tray on this. You could throw some hoof picks or what have you in there, and then of course a nice rubber floor, bridle hangers, and lights. I love the SafeTack compartment. It's something that our clients just rave about and have for many years now. So let's continue to walk on around. We put a couple of grab handles in case you want to step up to drop some feed in. These are drop down feed windows. I really like these. Years ago, the latches used to be at the top, so you had to reach up, and my wife's 5'2", she can't reach the thing. So we worked with the manufacturer to lower these to a mid latch, which I like much better. It's a one-hand operation, particularly with the holder. You just squeeze it, lay that window down, oh, excuse me, and you can latch it with this rubber stopper. That's what you hear. It's very cold, so it's pretty squeaky. The window will also slide, and it has a screen, so if you wanted to leave that window up and just slide it, you could certainly do that. I'm gonna go ahead and latch this back. You could leave the bars up, or you could fold the bars independent from the glass itself, okay? A lot of drop-down windows I see in other trailers, they're very heavy. It takes 2 hands, one to hold the window, one to hold the bars, and to try to fit them inside of a track. And I just don't like them personally. I've seen folks lay those down and actually fall on their head, so they can be dangerous. So if you have windows like that, make sure you hang on to them. This particular client added a front stall escape door. That is an option on this model. And yeah, we just did a chest pad there, feed bags. All right, that is the SafeTack 3-horse.